The conflict in Ukraine has entered a new phase with a bold counteroffensive, marking the first time since World War II that hostilities have crossed into Russian territory. This move carries significant strategic implications and has captured the world's attention. Which country will benefit from this counterattack? Ukraine, Russia, or another related country? Share your opinion below and join us in finding out the whole picture of this event. Fierce combat operations have intensified in Russia's Kursk region as Ukrainian forces launched a significant offensive operation on January 5, 2025. The military engagement began with a coordinated assault involving 2 tanks, 1 military engineering vehicle, and 12 armored fighting vehicles near the village of Berdin. Ukrainian forces achieved notable progress by establishing control over approximately 1,200 square kilometers and 93 villages in the region. The operation has consequently created a strategic buffer zone, preventing Russian forces from deploying key assets along the eastern Ukrainian front. Meanwhile, Russian forces responded with artillery and air power, claiming to have destroyed multiple Ukrainian armored vehicles during the initial engagement. The strategic objectives of Ukraine's ongoing counteroffensive are multifaceted, reflecting both immediate military priorities and broader political goals. A central aim is to establish control over critical infrastructure, such as transportation hubs and supply routes, which are vital for sustaining operations and ensuring long-term stability in contested areas. Another key priority is the creation of defensive buffer zones to protect Ukrainian-held territory and prevent Russian forces from launching future offensives or establishing footholds in strategically significant regions. Additionally, Ukrainian forces are focusing on disrupting Russian military logistics by targeting supply chains, communication networks, and key operational bases. These efforts aim to weaken the operational capabilities of Russian troops, reducing their ability to sustain prolonged engagements beyond the battlefield. This counteroffensive seeks to strengthen Ukraine's position in potential peace negotiations, using military gains to leverage favorable terms in any future diplomatic resolutions. The campaign has also showcased significant advancements in electronic warfare, with Ukrainian forces effectively neutralizing Russian drone capabilities and employing sophisticated countermeasures against aerial surveillance. Russia has established some of the most extensive defensive fortifications in Europe since World War II, designed to counter Ukraine's offensive operations. Spanning an impressive length of 2,000 kilometers, these fortifications stretch from the Belarusian border to the Dnipro Delta, creating a formidable barrier. The defensive system is composed of multiple semi-independent layers spread across various Ukrainian oblasts, allowing for greater flexibility and redundancy in resisting advances. These layers are fortified with a variety of infrastructure, including trenches, vast minefields, dragon teeth to impede vehicles, and other anti-vehicle barriers. In terms of depth, the defensive positions are meticulously organized, with some areas featuring fortifications extending 1 to 2 kilometers deep. This depth provides additional layers of security, making any breach by opposing forces an exceptionally challenging task. The Russian defensive system consists of 4 layers, starting approximately 2 kilometers from key positions. Each layer incorporates sophisticated obstacles, including 3 rows of densely packed dragon's teeth barriers and extensive trench networks. These defenses are designed to slow Ukrainian advances and channel forces into areas advantageous to Russian units. The presence of North Korean troops has introduced an additional dimension to the conflict, with approximately 11,000 soldiers deployed in support of Russian operations. Nevertheless, Ukrainian forces have reported successful engagements against these units, particularly in the village of Makhnovka. Modern warfare tactics have evolved significantly through the Ukrainian military's innovative approach to battlefield operations. The armed forces of Ukraine have demonstrated remarkable adaptability in combining conventional warfare with cutting-edge technology. Ukraine's military has developed a sophisticated approach to battlefield operations, specifically through the integration of commercial technology. Their forces have effectively utilized modified commercial drones for reconnaissance and attack operations, operating just 1 kilometers from the front line in coordination with traditional tank units. Moreover, Ukrainian companies have demonstrated exceptional capability in processing battlefield intelligence, with organizations like Molfar locating Russian units within 3 hours of online video posts. The Ukrainian military has implemented an integrated warfare strategy that merges multiple combat elements. Accordingly, their forces have created a data-driven command and control system operating across 4 dimensions: collection, connection, analysis, and action. Indeed, by May 2022, Ukraine had deployed 6,000 commercial drones to provide surveillance capabilities to military units. Western military aid has been instrumental in significantly boosting Ukraine's combat capabilities, with several advanced systems integrated into its operations. The deployment of HIMARS has allowed for precision strikes at ranges of up to 80 kilometers, while Storm Shadow missiles have extended Ukraine's reach to an impressive 550 kilometers. Patriot air defense systems have enhanced Ukraine's ability to counter aerial threats, and Bradley vehicles have provided improved troop protection and increased firepower on the battlefield. These systems' effectiveness has been further augmented by modern technological solutions. The integration of Starlink communications ensures stable and reliable connectivity across the battlefield, enabling seamless coordination. The Delta Battle Management System allows Ukrainian forces to track units in real time, improving strategic decision-making. Additionally, the GIS ARTA system enhances target identification and facilitates efficient sharing of coordinates, making Ukraine's strikes more accurate and effective. Therefore, Ukraine's military strategy has evolved into a sophisticated blend of conventional warfare and modern technology. The armed forces have effectively integrated Western equipment while developing innovative tactical solutions. Thus, their approach has created a more adaptive and responsive military force capable of conducting complex operations across multiple domains. The international community has mobilized unprecedented support for Ukraine's counteroffensive, with NATO nations leading a coordinated response to Russian aggression. As opposed to previous conflicts, the scale of military assistance has reached historic levels, with Western nations contributing more than $100 billion in military aid. NATO has established a comprehensive support framework, subsequently creating the NATO-Ukraine Council for Crisis Consultation. The alliance has coordinated the delivery of military equipment, with NATO members accounting for 99% of all military aid to Ukraine. In light of ongoing requirements, NATO has pledged €40 billion within the next year. Major Western nations have made significant commitments to military aid for Ukraine, with the United States leading the way with a pledge of $61 billion. Germany has provided $4 billion. The United Kingdom has committed $1 billion. Denmark has pledged $7 billion, and the Netherlands has offered $5 billion in support. These contributions are part of broader efforts to strengthen Ukraine's defense capabilities. The aid packages encompass a range of essential military hardware. Among the key items are ATACMS missiles, which have a range of 190 miles, and Storm Shadow missiles supplied by the UK and France. Additionally, more than 80 multiple launch rocket systems have been provided, along with 65 F-16 fighter jets from NATO countries. This extensive support has greatly enhanced Ukraine's ability to engage in sustained combat and defend its territory against Russian advances. In addition to the substantial military support, diplomatic efforts have been ramped up, with the European Union showing a united front through a variety of initiatives. The EU has adopted sweeping sanctions against Russia, aiming to disrupt its economy and war efforts. It has also coordinated closely with G7 partners to establish legal frameworks that support international law and accountability. Additionally, the EU has backed investigations into alleged war crimes, underscoring its commitment to justice. Furthermore, temporary protection mechanisms have been put in place to assist refugees fleeing the conflict, offering them shelter and security during this crisis. Although the Washington NATO summit did not advance Ukraine's NATO membership timeline, the alliance has upgraded political ties through the NATO-Ukraine Council. The Swiss-hosted Peace Summit has maintained firm principles regarding Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The Kiel Institute, however, warns of a potential significant fall in aid to Ukraine in 2025. This projection comes as Germany considers reducing its military assistance by approximately half. Altogether, these developments highlight the complex nature of sustaining long-term international support for the Ukrainian counteroffensive. In response to the Ukrainian counteroffensive, Moscow has initiated comprehensive military countermeasures across multiple fronts. Initially, Russian forces focused on strengthening their defensive positions while mobilizing significant artillery and personnel resources. Russia has constructed what military analysts describe as the most extensive defensive works in Europe since World War II. These fortifications extend approximately 2,000 kilometers from Russia's border with Belarus to the Dnipro Delta. The defensive infrastructure consists of several layers of trenches and earthworks designed to impede enemy movement, along with minefields that target both vehicles and personnel. Additionally, dragon teeth barriers have been deployed to block vehicles, while reinforced concrete bunkers offer protection for troops and equipment. Razor wire perimeters further enhance security, preventing unauthorized access and increasing the difficulty of breaching these defensive positions. Russian artillery capabilities have grown significantly, with production rates seeing notable increases. The country is currently producing 30 units of Iskander-M missiles per month, while the production of Kh-101 cruise missiles ranges between 100 and 115 units monthly. Additionally, Russia is manufacturing approximately 250,000 artillery shells each month, reflecting a substantial expansion in its artillery output to support ongoing military operations. Presently, Russian forces are outgunning Ukrainian positions at a ratio of 10-to-1 in artillery fire. Rather than relying solely on domestic production, Russia has secured additional ammunition supplies, receiving more than 1 million rounds from North Korea. The Russian military has undeniably increased its frontline presence, expanding from 360,000 to 470,000 troops. Military intelligence reports indicate that Moscow is recruiting approximately 30,000 additional personnel monthly. The reinforcement strategy involves the deployment of Marine brigades, the integration of airborne divisions, and the incorporation of special forces battalions to strengthen the overall military presence. Additionally, assault units are strategically positioned to enhance offensive capabilities and ensure a robust defense. Whenever Russian positions face pressure, the military command has demonstrated rapid response capabilities by deploying reinforcement columns, mostly comprising BM-21 Grad multiple rocket launchers, tanks, and towed artillery. Unless faced with direct threats, these units maintain defensive positions while conducting regular artillery strikes against Ukrainian advances. The Russian Defense Ministry has allocated 6% of GDP for military expenditures, compared to NATO members' average of 2%. This increased funding has enabled Moscow to place its economy on a wartime footing, mostly evident in the expansion of ammunition production facilities and military infrastructure development. The first thing to remember, the deployment of North Korean troops marks an unprecedented shift in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The Pentagon has confirmed the presence of approximately 12,000 North Korean soldiers in Russia's Kursk region. Above all, North Korean forces have been integrated into Russian military operations, wearing Russian uniforms and carrying forged identification documents. These troops, drawn from the elite 11th Corps, Storm Corps, possess specialized training in infrastructure sabotage, infiltration operations, and high-endurance combat capabilities. The involvement of North Korean soldiers in the conflict has had a mixed impact on the military balance. While they have demonstrated commendable discipline and a methodical approach to combat operations, their lack of experience with modern warfare has led to considerable casualties. Since their deployment, estimates suggest that between 1,000 and 3,000 soldiers have been lost. With a total deployment of 10,000 to 12,000 troops, these forces have been concentrated in the Kursk Oblast, where they have focused their training on infantry tactics, UAV operations, and artillery. Despite their training, the challenges of adapting to advanced warfare technologies and strategies have contributed to the high number of casualties. Given these points, the involvement of North Korean troops has triggered substantial international concern. 10 countries and the European Union have labeled this development a dangerous expansion of the conflict. Important to realize that this military cooperation carries implications for both European and Indo-Pacific security. The deployment of North Korean troops brings several strategic advantages for both sides involved. For North Korea, it provides valuable combat experience, exposure to Russian military technology, and a financial incentive, with soldiers receiving a monthly compensation of $2,000. For Russia, the deployment offers an infusion of additional manpower to support ongoing operations, helping to offset losses on the battlefield. It also serves to strengthen the military alliance between the two countries, further cementing their cooperation in the conflict. The Pentagon has declared these North Korean forces as legitimate military targets for Ukrainian operations. In essence, their presence has transformed the conflict from a regional confrontation into a more complex international security challenge, with potential ramifications for the Korean Peninsula's stability. The South Korean intelligence service has identified this deployment as a significant security threat, noting that North Korean forces are gaining valuable combat experience that could affect future regional conflicts. This military cooperation between Moscow and Pyongyang represents a substantial shift in global power dynamics, potentially reducing China's influence over North Korea. The technological dimension of the Ukrainian counteroffensive has emerged as a defining aspect of modern warfare. As military operations intensify, both sides have deployed an unprecedented array of advanced systems, marking a significant shift in battlefield dynamics. The Ukrainian military has established itself as a world leader in drone warfare, with over 200 registered companies producing military drones. Correspondingly, their defense industries have developed increasingly sophisticated systems, outpacing Russian capabilities in both innovation and deployment. The landscape of drone operations in the conflict involves a variety of drone types, each serving specific functions with varying deployment ranges. FPV racing drones are primarily used for kamikaze strikes, operating within a range of 1 to 2 kilometers. The DJI Mavic drones are deployed for reconnaissance, with a slightly longer range of 2 to 5 kilometers. Meanwhile, the TB2 Bayraktar drones are utilized for strategic strikes, capable of operating over distances of more than 150 kilometers, adding a significant advantage to long-range military capabilities. Ukraine's success in drone warfare stems from its ability to rapidly innovate and adapt. The number of Ukrainian drone manufacturing companies has grown from 7 to 80 within 1 year. The conflict has seen the largest-scale use of electronic warfare, often abbreviated as EW in military history, with both sides developing advanced capabilities to gain an upper hand. These include techniques for signal interference and GPS disruption, systems for detecting and neutralizing drones, efforts to protect communication networks, and radar jamming technologies. Such sophisticated EW measures have become essential in shaping the dynamics of the battlefield, with both sides leveraging technology to disrupt each other's operations and enhance their own strategic advantages. Ukraine has approximately 50 companies specializing in electronic warfare systems. Likewise, their forces have successfully exploited weaknesses in Russian communications, using electronic attack capabilities to degrade the performance of Russian airborne early warning platforms. The integration of artificial intelligence has significantly enhanced Ukraine's combat effectiveness, particularly in drone operations. AI-driven navigation and targeting software has raised the success rate of low-cost drone strikes from 20% to 70%. The technological warfare landscape has been influenced by several key factors. The integration of commercial sector technology has accelerated development cycles, enabling cost-effective solutions and greater innovation flexibility. Western technology transfer has played a crucial role in advancing Ukraine's military capabilities, particularly in the areas of targeting systems, secure communication networks, and electronic countermeasures. Additionally, the ability to adapt quickly on the battlefield, conduct real-time testing, and rapidly deploy prototypes has allowed Ukraine to refine its strategies and weapons. Feedback from combat operations has been integral to these innovations, ensuring that the technology evolves in direct response to the challenges faced on the front lines. In contrast to Russia's lengthy defense acquisition process, Ukraine has streamlined its procurement procedures, reducing timelines from years to weeks for unmanned systems. Similarly, the Ukrainian government has allocated $2 billion for drone production in 2024, with a target of manufacturing 1 million FPV drones annually. The technological advantage has been further enhanced through Ukraine's Brave One initiative, a government-led defense tech cluster that facilitates cooperation between public and private sectors. Analogous to Silicon Valley's innovation model, this approach has enabled rapid development and deployment of new capabilities. The effectiveness of these technological innovations is demonstrated by Ukraine's ability to conduct systematic operations. Their forces employ electronic warfare systems to disable Russian drones, followed by deploying their drone swarms to locate and target Russian positions. This process has become a cornerstone of their military strategy, enabling steady territorial gains despite facing a numerically superior opponent. The strategic landscape of the Russia-Ukraine conflict has fundamentally shifted as Russia gains momentum in its assault amid stalled Western aid. Current military dynamics indicate that parts of Ukraine's front line face potential collapse without sustained international support. The conflict has notably reshaped European security architecture, prompting unprecedented changes in defense postures. Military spending across European nations has reached historic levels, with Russia's defense budget now representing 1/3 of its national budget and approximately 7.5% of GDP. The regional security framework is grappling with several significant challenges. There has been an increased militarization of border states, which has heightened tensions in the region. Traditional security alliances are being disrupted, while new defense partnerships are emerging in response to evolving threats. Additionally, military doctrines are transforming as nations adapt to the changing dynamics of conflict and security needs. The balance of military power has undergone a significant shift, with Russia showcasing its ability to sustain its campaign through various means. At present, Moscow has around 470,000 troops stationed in occupied territories, a notable increase from the 360,000 troops initially deployed at the start of the invasion. In terms of military aspects, Russia has a substantial advantage in active forces, with 40,000 troops, while Ukraine's strength remains variable. Russia's industrial output is also notably stronger, as it has tripled its defense budget, in contrast to Ukraine's limited production capacity. Regarding equipment losses, Russia has reported the loss of around 8,800 vehicles since 2022, bringing their numbers close to pre-war levels. Meanwhile, Russia's ammunition supply is supported by North Korea, whereas Ukraine relies on Western support to meet its needs. The future trajectory of the conflict could unfold into one of 4 distinct scenarios. In the case of a long war, the conflict would continue as an attritional struggle, gradually testing the resource limits of both sides, with sustained Western support for Ukraine being essential. Alternatively, a frozen conflict could emerge, characterized by stabilized front lines and a temporary cessation of major military operations, but leaving unresolved territorial disputes. A Ukrainian victory would likely involve enhanced Western support, allowing for the recovery of territories to pre-2022 lines, while Russian military setbacks would signal a shift in momentum. On the other hand, a Ukrainian defeat could result in the loss of territorial control, potential changes in the government, and the imposition of a forced neutrality status. Essentially, Russia's theory of victory relies on exhausting Western willingness to support Ukraine. The Russian military has demonstrated the ability to maintain steady offensive operations throughout 2024, while simultaneously increasing its defense industry output. The military balance assessment indicates that Russia can sustain its current rate of equipment attrition for another 2 to 3 years. This sustainability is primarily supported by Moscow's ability to reactivate approximately 1,080 to 1,080 main battle tanks and 2,470 infantry fighting vehicles annually from storage. The strategic implications extend beyond immediate battlefield dynamics. Increasingly, the conflict's outcome depends on political decisions made in Washington and Brussels. The Western alliance's unity, which remained strong throughout 2023, faces mounting challenges as support packages encounter political obstacles. Currently, the humanitarian toll of the Ukrainian counteroffensive has reached unprecedented levels, with the United Nations reporting a lot of civilian casualties since February 2022. The impact of military operations has created an extensive humanitarian crisis affecting millions across the region. The scale of civilian suffering has intensified, with September 2024 recording the highest monthly civilian casualties of the year, 208 killed and 1,220 injured. At present, 46 million people require humanitarian assistance, representing 40% of Ukraine's total population. The widespread destruction of critical infrastructure has had a profound impact on daily life. Energy facilities have been systematically targeted, leading to power shortages, while water supply systems have sustained significant damage, disrupting access to clean water. Healthcare services have been severely impacted, with many facilities unable to operate effectively, and educational institutions have also been destroyed. halting access to schooling for many children. Notably, the targeting of residential areas has continued, with Kyiv experiencing attacks from more than 130 drones. The situation has become particularly dire in eastern and southern Ukraine, where communities face daily challenges in accessing basic services. The international community has mobilized substantial resources to address the humanitarian crisis. The United States, as the largest donor, has provided more than $20 billion in humanitarian assistance, with USAID contributing to $20 billion. The European Union has introduced extensive support measures to address the ongoing crisis. Emergency assistance has been provided through the establishment of logistical hubs in Poland, Romania, and Slovakia, facilitating the coordination of medical evacuations and the provision of essential supplies. In terms of financial support, the EU has allocated over €1 billion for humanitarian programs and implemented temporary protection mechanisms for those affected by the conflict. Additionally, support has been extended to host countries managing the influx of refugees, helping them cope with the challenges of large-scale displacement. The United Nations has expanded its humanitarian response, with the Ukraine Humanitarian Fund allocating $192 million to over 100 projects. The World Bank estimates the reconstruction costs could reach $641 billion. The humanitarian situation has been further complicated by the approaching winter season. The UN reports that systematic attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure have become one of the defining, abhorrent hallmarks of this war. Ultimately, these conditions have led to extended blackouts affecting approximately 1 million consumers. The international aid community has established specialized support systems, including 39 blue dots across 8 countries. These facilities provide information and counseling services, mental health and psychosocial support, legal aid and protection services, and specialized assistance for vulnerable groups. The humanitarian response continues to adapt to evolving needs, with particular attention to vulnerable populations. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has emphasized the importance of maintaining humanitarian access to occupied territories and implementing action plans to prevent violations against children. The Ukrainian counteroffensive marks a pivotal moment in modern military history, showcasing advanced technological warfare, strategic innovation, and global cooperation. While Russia's defensive measures are significant, Ukraine's use of Western equipment and local solutions continues to challenge them. However, the presence of North Korean troops and the ongoing humanitarian crisis add further complexity. With the conflict's outcome uncertain, it could lead to either a prolonged war or a decisive victory. The lessons from this conflict will shape military strategies and international relations for years to come. What do you think the future holds for this conflict? Do you believe a decisive victory is possible for either side? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.